Welcome back to Single Player Party. I'm on here on Kickstarter. We're going to be looking at rounding up what games are for solo players on Kickstarter each week. So this is the inaugural episode. It's 8:25 and it's early in the morning. So it's Wednesday morning. I want to do this. Most Kickstarters launch on a Tuesday, so I want to jump on maybe Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, see what's available. The times left on these that you'll see won't be accurate for when you view this, but I'll try to let you know what date one's ending and let you know how much time you have left. But I want to focus on Kickstarters that are only for uh, board games that are for single player. So there'll be ones that are true solitaire games. There'll be ones with like a low player count with the one player option. There'll be games that might be like 1 to 6 players, but if they have a true solo mode, we'll look at that, and then we'll look at the ones that maybe add like a add-on as a solo mode. So that kind of happens sometimes, but I think most games are being designed now with solo in mind. So I have been on Kickstarter since June of 2020 or 2011. So just hit 10 years on here. In fact, 165 projects, and I've launched 3 myself. 2 of which were successful. One was oh so close, but that's just kind of my background on here. But we're gonna dive right into what is available right now. I looked a little ahead, so hopefully I'm doing the research that you won't have to do if you want to just come see what's new maybe on a Tuesday, and if anything piques your interest. If you don't have time to go sifting through all of this, I'm hoping to grab everything so you don't have to. So this one right here is Dragonbond Lords of Vaala. It's got almost 2,000 backers. It's only got 35 hours left, so it's going to wrap up on Thursday or Friday. And I think I should have this up so they might have a day or two. So if you're seeing this after maybe August 27th, you're probably it's gonna end on Thursday at noon on the 26th. So that's when you'll have to maybe like a day and a half to look at this one. It's out of Mexico City. They've had others, so they've created 7 other games, but it's already funded, so it's overfunded by a lot, 4x. And so this one does have, and something I want to do on here, which I hopefully won't have to do every time. I'll probably look at this beforehand so that I can just kind of give you what you need to know, because this is a great example of you having to sift through the whole thing to find out how many players it's for or whatever. Sometimes they'll have it in a description on when you're viewing the page. You get to see this part right here, I believe, and that's what I really wish Kickstarter publishers, designers, whomever, would just put the player count in the description. Or it should be 3 buttons right up here: player count, play time, is it a fast setup, slow setup, ages, all that good stuff should be right up front. This is a miniatures game, and it looks like it's got a lot of upgrades, a lot of optional upgrades, and then looks like your base level to get in. Get a copy for $49. That is not bad. That's not bad at all. So 2 games for 80. This is something worth looking into. So yeah, that's a good price for miniatures. Lots of tokens. Here we go. Here's the buttons I'm looking for. I'm looking for this at the top. 60 minutes, 1 to 4 players, 12 plus. So sometimes I'll be able to go into whether it's we know it's a good game or it looks like a good game for solo play. Right now, I'm just going to do a little cursory look at a few games. Right now, I'm playing catch up because I have been looking a little bit, but I haven't been keeping track like I want to keep track. Like next week when I do this, it'll be just hitting kind of what came out between now and then. The list will be a little shorter, and I'll be able to go more in depth with each one. So subscribe, hit the notifications. So this one looks pretty cool. It's gonna fund. Keep that one on your radar. That is Dragonbond Lords of Vaala. This one looked pretty cool too. So Hizuru only has 50 hours left. It is triple funded. It's funded 3x. You got 470 backers, 50 hours to go. This one is out of Tokyo, Japan. So depending on, I'm in the U.S. Most people are in the U.S., but I know there's a lot of international people. So, shipping is going to be funky everywhere, and that's normally, that's not even with the caveat of what's going on with manufacturing right now. We're in August of 2021. Shipping containers are off the charts expensive, and game manufacturing, I haven't gotten a quote for a new game in a while. I'm not putting out any medium or big size games for quite a while, because I'm nervous about getting other people's money and then having to have expenses explode on me. So these people were probably already far along, or they hit that point of no return. They've already got the business concern up and running, so they're going full blast. They have back zero, and it's their first created. So, a game looks cool. People might be turned off, unless you're Japanese. You might be a little turned off by, a lot of foreign language stuff, because everybody worries about the language barrier. And this kind of gives me a feel of what maybe a lot of international people who English isn't their first language, or they don't speak English at all, they run up against this kind of stuff. I was looking at another one that wasn't single player, and it was all in Japanese, and I was like, this is what it feels like to be an international shopper on a Kickstarter page when you don't speak any English. And I'm guessing most of the time you just wouldn't even come to the page unless you got a link from somebody who spoke in your native tongue, and they supported that. I know there's been a lot of French stuff that's come out. Stuff out of Poland has been, in a different language. So it's cool to see. Everybody should have games on here. So there's not a lot of stuff I can keep up with on this, but you've got a lot of English on here too. So it is in yen, so it's got to be converted. And I do love that. I hate how it clicks there. So right there where it says, about $37, that helps keep that in perspective. And then you always want to scroll down to wherever you're located and find out how they're doing the conversion on shipping. And honestly, shipping should be its own tab up here. I know they have the FAQ. A lot of places don't do it. There are things that you have to fill out on a Kickstarter when you're putting one together, and they should just have a shipping tab here where it's like, do you have the information? Don't you have the information? And if it's a no, at least you can come here and say no, because there's just a lot to sift through. I'm not saying every Kickstarter needs to look the same, but it would be nice if everybody had up at the top player count, time, ages, and then you have your little hook. This one's pretty good. It's got this information right here. This is not too bad. You can have it there. Updates. I think updates are great for the update section, unless you have something really splashy to push here. Maybe this is their really splashy thing. A lot of Kickstarters launch with no video or without any reviews, so they'll put them up here at the top. I'm sure most of you are veteran Kickstarter people anyways, but this one does have a solo mode. Haven't gotten to look that deep into it, but I'm just giving you the list you can go through, and I'll put it in the description. I'll try to do links, but I will list the name of each one, so you can just, if you want to just go and sift through them on your own. But this way, you're not having to look through all the STL files that are now on there, all the 5th edition supplements and zines, which I love seeing that stuff, but I don't got time to go sorting through Kickstarter right now for all that stuff. So let's search for the next one. I just wrote down a list here, and some of them might not be. This is Bug Council of Backyardia, which is like an awesome name and just makes you want to check it out from that alone. So this one's out of Tokyo, Japan. Also with some Japanese. We got 1 to 5 players, ages 10 plus, 30 minutes. Little welcome to Backyardia. A cool little, I like this graphic design. Some how to play Giphy GIFs. I'm just going to say Giphy GIFs so everybody knows, call it what you want. I don't care. I do care. I actually think it should be said. GIF, but you know, that's just me starting fights. So, oh, neoprene mat. I'm a sucker for mats. I do love mats a lot, and I like these very specifically shaped meeples. And then you got the screen printed. So we've got a solo mode meeple and a solo mode board. That's something cool to see. That means that it's a dedicated mode. You know, they're not just saying play multi-handed, or they are saying play multi-handed, but you've got elements that come in the box that make it maybe a true solo experience. So that's cool. I like that. And where are we at with this one? It's only got 55 hours left, and it is really short of its goal. I would say that this one is probably not going to fund. It's just over halfway there. It looks like it's about 55% funded. They're about to hit the 48-hour mark. So by the time you see this, they'll have hit the 48-hour mark. And if it's just past the 48-hour mark, if they're ramping up to 75% and can zone in on 80% around that time, I think it'll fund. If they can't bridge the gap now from that 55 to 80% just after we hit like 48, maybe 46, 45 hours, it probably won't fund. So this is one to keep your eye on if you want to help it fund. It's there for you. If I had to make a guess, I would say this one's not going to fund, but there was some cool stuff on that page that I did catch my eye. UFO Wave. I do have a UFO themed game in my to-do list as a game I want to design with kind of bringing back an old mechanic that you don't see in games much anymore and kind of revamping it for the future. So that one, it's years off, but it's a design that I've been kicking around for quite a few years, and I am excited to kind of drill it down on that one. So we've got 1 to 6 players, 20 to 45 minutes, ages 8+. The graphic design on this is a little... I feel like the flow could be better, but the information flows well. I feel like the art transitions a little rough on the eye. So this one has funded. It's just about plus 40% over its goal. Almost 200 backers, 60 hours left. Looks like it's gonna get funded, so that's cool. And it has solo play. I don't know if it's got a true dedicated solo mode or you're playing multi-handed or whatnot, but it looks like it's out of the UK. And the price isn't that bad, $29. So I don't know what it would be with shipping. If we select this, United States, it's not adding any default shipping, so they might have information. I'm not going to scroll all the way to the bottom of everything. So we've got Birmingham, UK. All right, UFO Wave caught my eye as well. All these caught my eye, obviously, but interesting. I've been playing Under Falling Skies, so this game does not look like Under Falling Skies, but they all can't be Under Falling Skies. That game is amazing, especially it being designed as a solitaire game. Super fun. I've been having a lot of fun with that one. Here we got a funded one. It has it will fund. It's $200 away. It's got 467 backers, 65 hours to go. Cartouche, a tile laying game. I kind of like that. The little maybe would have been hieroglyphs on tiles. It's a good idea. Out of Hollywood, 1 to 4 archaeologists. I like that too. That's cool. So you can play it on Tabletop Simulator. Don't know if you'll have enough time for that. Double-sided. Okay, for multiple players. Story cards. I love Egyptian stuff, so I even have Egyptian tattoos on my arm, which are totally washed out in the light. Got some Anubis and Horus on here. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. The colors are nice. I like the way they did this border with the game pieces. I like the way this Kickstarter looks. I mean, it's not like this grandiose kind of Cool Mini or Not or any of the big dogs, but they've created 21, so they know what they're doing. They've backed 455. Wow. So, Bluebeard Entertainment, they are Kickstarter veterans. Another one for you to check out. So I don't know how much time I'm actually saving you. If you're watching this, one of these might pique your eye. You go and check it out on your own. But this is, I'm doing a lot of scrolling down, getting through the dross, as it were. If you only like to look at ones that are already funded, that kind of weeds them out a lot. What's ending soonest? There you go. But this, I'm going to go from everything that's ending soon here to everything that's all the way new. And then, like I said, next week on the shorter list, I plan on going much more in depth on each one. I'll be able to give you like what the kind of gameplay might look like, and a little more details. Is it funded? Is it a true solo? Any other notes on maybe style, art, or whatnot, and maybe even what these sparklies happening around me too. So this one's hit $1 million bucks out of Portland, Oregon, and it's Far Off Games. They've created 5, so they know what they're doing. Almost 8,000 backers. This is pretty cool. This is a beautiful picture of the game board, maybe some expansions or some of the characters included. Nice setup of the table. Looks like it's got a pretty big footprint. It's cool. So 1 to 4 players, 1 to 40 hours. Looks like you're going to be playing through an adventure. Probably campaign mode. Their prototype pieces look pretty nice. So this is Arydia. I'm so bad with names. So ArYdia, The Paths We Dare Tread. That's a good title. I like the title a lot. So let's see what this is. This one looks backable for me. Base game 165. What? $165 for the game. That's the lowest price to get in on this game. They say the MSRP on this is going to be $240. $165? $190 for the base game plus that. This must be Epic Hunt material, maybe. Plus the expansion. You got 4,500 backers at $150. Whew. This is a lot to drop on a game. Let's dive into Far Off. Mr. Cody Miller. Wait, he did. Well, there it is. He did Zaya, Legends of a Drift System. That's a staple now. That game is very popular. Very popular. I haven't got to play it. It's on my list. I really do. I really want to play it. Wow. That makes this way cooler. $165, you say? No, I can't drop anything like that on a game that's going to deliver in a year and a half, a year and a third. It's all a long way off, but this looks like it's going to be a cool experience. I'll be looking to pick up one of these, maybe secondhand down the road. Sell off some other games and pick that up after I've played them. If money isn't a factor, I would say this is an insta-buy for a lot of people because I think he's probably going to have a really good follow-up to that. If you're just tuning in for that, I would check that out. So here we got Kharkov Battles, before and after fall Blau. So this one's out of Hartford, US of A. Now this one was interesting because it said number of players 2 to 6 for campaigns and solitaire. Solitaire suitability high. I don't know how you judge that. I don't know. This looks like a GMT game. This is Compass Games. They've created 31, so they're their own thing. But like the tokens just remind me of like, you know, the classics that have been around for a long time. And Compass sounds very familiar. I cannot remember anything of theirs that I've played, but this looks like, you know, if you're a war gamer, this is probably one of your favorite companies, I'm sure. I just picked up Apache Leader, our Thunderbolt Apache Leader. I'm really looking forward to playing that game. So yeah, this one caught my eye. I kind of want to get into these more crunchy, see if this is something I'm going to fall in love with. A really crunchy war game, especially the solitaire ones. So these tend to be a little expensive. So MSRP $69, not too bad. Get in for $55 on the Kickstarter. So this is one that I wanted to point out if you're into solitaire war games, Compass Games, Kharkov Battles. So that one's got a week left. So it's gonna end on Wednesday, next Wednesday. So it's pretty good. Plugging right along. I think I'm gonna start going through these a little bit faster because I don't want the video to be too long, and I know I'm gonna get going for a while here, but yeah, I don't want it to be too long. I was hoping for a half an hour, but I don't see that happening on this one. So inaugural episode's gonna be a little long. Come back next week. I'm gonna keep it. I'm looking 20-30 minutes is where I want to be for this. If I can get down to like 10 or 15 to give you the bullet points of what you need to know, I'll get you there. So this one does not look like it's gonna fund. It's way too off. You got 38 backers. I don't know what some of the red flags are gonna be, but they're not even close. I don't think it's gonna. So we're moving on. So Photographic World, check it out if you would like to follow it. Maybe they'll retool it and get it back up here. There's gonna be a lot of things called banished. Let's see if I can narrow it down. Banished in games, in tabletop games. There it is. This is the one. This one doesn't look like it's going to fund either. Only 166 backers, less than halfway there with 8 days to go. So, like I said, they're in the slow treasure of it all, but you need to hit that like 40-ish% on the first 3 days, because you got a lot of ground to cover to get to the last 48. You got to bridge that 40% to like 70%, because if you're going into the last 48 with 70%, and I know I said 80% earlier, that's a high probability of it ending. Around 70%, you can try to get a third of what you need, I would say, from that last 48-hour push, if all your ducks are in a row. This one's probably not going to hit. So it's a puzzle game. Maybe it's like a unlock. Maybe it's like a one of those discovery files ones. But I'm gonna keep plugging away here. This one looked pretty cool. Flamecraft. Looks like it's like witchcraft with dragons. The art style is cool. You got 17,000 backers, 8 days to go. They only wanted $25,000, and they're at 1.2 million. This thing is going nuts. It's from Cardboard Academy. They've created 3 other games, which is Mission Catastrophe and Board Game Alchemy, both of which were definitely successful. And it looks like they're ramping up. So they had 1,000 backers. Oh, excuse me. Late at night. 1,000 backers for the first one, and then they almost doubled the backers for the next one. It looks like Mission Catastrophe was also for 1 to 6 players. Well, it was not also, but it also has some solo play. So I'm not familiar with either of those two games, but this one looks like it's plugging away. I love the art style. There are some things on here where I hear it's a little simple, but you know, you got some good reviews from some good reviewers. And I do believe you can play this one on one of the simulators. So you can find out for yourself. 8 days left on that one. Golden Mart was next on my radio. And I like this simple art design. Look how clean that is. A solo RPG about customer service and the apocalypse. 9 days left. If this one had updated digital edition as PDF, and so a $5 PDF for a single player, that's kind of like, this would be something I'll back. I'm gonna do a remind me. $5 for a PDF. That's something I could support. It's $17 for the print edition, which I would prefer to have, but I'm probably not gonna do that, just because I've got a lot of games to play right now. I mean, I've got a lot. I am backing a couple things. D6, Deep Space D6 just went, and that game has been out of print, very expensive for a long time. So it is really, I thought, really cheap and affordable on here. You get the game, the expansion, and a campaign rule book or like an RPG version of it for like $35. And you can't find that game for less than like $80 or $90 right now. So that's a good one. But I think that will be over by the time you see this. So I'm saving this one. That's cool. $5 for a solo play PDF. You can print out yourself. That looks cool. I just like that clean art. So check out Golden Mart. I hope I get to all this. There is really some cool stuff in here. So here we have, I think this is the first one I'm featuring that is a true solitaire. This is a that one, the last one was an RPG, but here we've got like a token based board game, GMT style, compass game style. Matt White has created 7 and back 17. Looks like he's out of the UK. Peterborough, which I'm sure is pronounced very funky in a different way over there. Like Worcester. And it is a true solo, so I'm just gonna leave that there. Yes, it is, right? A true solo? It is, yeah. So come and check this one out. I like the art style. It's got a little bit of like brush strokey, a little bit of brush stroke, World War II action. Be interesting if I was deep into these kind of games and then had already played most of the ones that kind of look like this, and then to maybe review this one by like how it might stack up. If you play a lot of those games and you come check out The Chosen Road and you look at that and say, oh, it's borrowing from this or they've innovated that, put it in the comments below, and I would like to hear what kind of somebody who knows a lot about these kind of solitaire World War II token games kind of, I mean, a lot of people call them like Excel games because you're like cross-referencing a lot of spreadsheets. It's spreadsheet games. This one is called Artefacts, where I really like, so I don't like misspelled names. I have a hard enough time pronouncing real names. When they make things phonetic, that helps me a lot. This one's from Belgium. So I don't know if that's just how you'd spell it in Belgium, but it's a lot easier to copyright or trademark like a name you make up. So already their logo's cool and a little more trademarkable. Not that you're going to trademark your game unless you've got some kind of movie deal or something weird based off board games, which how they burn through books and comics and everything else for movies, they might eventually come for board games. Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, The Havens, they're probably already working on that movie. Okay, so 1 to 4 players, 45 to 240 minutes, 14 plus. This one looked pretty cool to me. The board, this picture of the game board just kind of looks very pleasing. It's probably the way they stacked all these token piles over here. Look at that. Perfect. You're not going to be doing that during your game. These little cascading plaques and these little beautiful tableaus. So whatever's going on over here interests me. And then this might be big picture, and then you zoomed in on little picture down here. A little macro micro happening. This game looks cool. I don't know what the buy-in for it is. It looks like it's £100, so 117 for me. And you get a core box, stretch goals, and solo mode. When profit is funded, so this might not be true solo. So this might be an expansion only solo, which I think that the Legends of Drift system was that way too. A lot of games, they only become solo if you buy a certain expansion. I'm fine with that. That's totally fine. It's extra money to play it solo, but if they build an expansion around dedicating a dedicated solo mode, I think most of us solo players are fine with that. We're into that. That one looks very promising. Next one I got on my list is Point Black. Oh wait, no, it's Point Blank. I misspelled it. V is for victory. I misspelled out my little list over there, but it's not misspelled over here. So Point Blank V is for victory, which, you know, V-Day, VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, over for World War II. So this one, I don't remember. Here it is. 1 to 2 players. This is a low player count. 12 plus. It's got scale information, 2 hours, depending on scenario size. Oh man, excuse me. Look at this. This is a cool little solitaire. 8 out of 10. A high solitaire rate. And I would expect a game that's for 1 to 2 players to have a pretty high solitaire rate. Complexity 5 out of 10. When publishers put a complexity on there, I know Victory Point Games does, and I do appreciate it, but I really don't know what that means. I have no idea what 5 out of 10 is. A medium, like, I'm only gonna lose. Does it mean I lose half the time? Is the complexity of a game the average person's win-loss ratio? So a less complex game, you're winning like 80% of the time. A super complex game, you're losing 80% of the time. Is that how they do it? At least that would make sense. But I don't know. So I think that matters when they've made 3 games, and maybe they've made a lot in the past. But I feel like the complexity of a game scale for a publisher is going to vary in between the different publishers. But it is good within a publisher. So like I said, I have Victory Point Games. I have quite a few of their items, and so now I know, having played some of their easy stuff, medium stuff, and hard stuff, when I go back to them, I kind of have an idea of what that is. So what do you guys think about when they put the complexity in the Kickstarter, they put the complexity on the box? How much does that help you? Do you think about it? Does it affect whether you're going to buy the game or not? Kinless. So I've just gearing up for this. I don't know what Markborg is. I saw another game on my list that's a Markborg game. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna Google it right now and waste more time, because this is already taking quite a bit of time. But this is a true solo game. It's only played solo. Right there, right in the big old title. Not the little description title, the big old title, Solo Viking Adventure. So they're already 10x funded, 741 backers with 15 days to go. So if it was a 30-day campaign, they're only halfway through the campaign. So this looks cool. So digital a PDF. That interests me. So soft cover. So it's gonna be a book. Wow. It looks like a book with an app, but this looks like a box. You know, like this looks like what the like a box cover would look like. Maybe that's confused me a little bit. Markborg is a role-playing game. The dark fantasy, low magic horror of Markborg. Oh, if I'm saying that wrong, you gotta help me out. Okay, cool. This one does very much interest me. $15 is a lot for me to drop for a PDF that I'm probably not going to get around to for a while. So I will remind myself about this one. I will save it, and I'll probably end up looking for it down the road. But this one's definitely on my list. I've got a couple old solo RPG stuff. Specifically, 2 I have here, not in storage, that I want to play, are 2 Star Wars ones. So those are on my short list. I put a game here called Strange Hills, and I wasn't sure if it was. I don't remember what my questions were about this. It's a tabletop RPG about loss and redemption based on the no dice, no masters system. So you don't have a DM, which is interesting. Now, if you have to play as a group and you don't need a DM, I'm kind of thinking that makes it a single player. Like, you can play it solo, whether it's multi-charactered, multi-handed, whatever. So check this one out. There's not a ton of visuals. The visuals here are pretty rudimentary on here. And then it goes into, like, the stretch goals are just kind of listed. This guy looks really tired working. He looks more tired than me. So I'm only up at 1 a.m. doing this, but and then people's faces. So this one does look cool. No video here. Interesting. Let's see what they got for their info here. First created 58 back. So they've been around Kickstarter, they just haven't created one yet. This one's interesting. I'll do a little remind me later on that one. Digital copy for $10. So if it's just a book, I'm not into collecting a bunch of digital PDFs. $10, $15 a pop. That's a lot. So faction specific, if I can type. Not faction. Faction specific. It's workers for Scythe. There it is. So this is an STL file for you to throw up on your own printer. But I wanted to include this one. And so when I do these, sometimes I want to do, at the end, I want to do accessories for solo games that you already have, if there's a good one up on Kickstarter. And I want to do an honorable mention of game that isn't single player at all. Just caught my eye. I do have friends who like to play board games, and I would like to do that with them more often, but it just doesn't happen a lot. So this is one of those accessory ones, and I'll jump to the other accessory one right now too, because let's call this the accessory intermission. These I get a lot of ads for on my social media. I think they have like an advertising blitz, and I think that they've done these before. 17 created. They've done a lot of these. So these can be expensive. The woods can be very expensive, but they're super cool. So I believe they're magnetic hexagons for connecting, all the different things you could do. tokens, coins, hold your hand of cards. So these are super cool. They're very expensive. The wood is not cheap. So, you know, you want your purple heart or your cherry. Whew. I don't know what they're doing this time. So you just pledge 20. And then you got to go to the pledge calculator. So it's interesting. So I'm guessing 20 gets you probably one of these. They probably have a full breakdown. Solo tile, $20. So one tile is $20. Whew. 2 tiles, starting at 20. What? Oh, I see what it's saying. Solo. I'm still right. So solo as in one little hole drilled out to hold your tokens is $20. The duo, you don't get 2 for 20. You get these 2 crevices to put things in. And then you get the card tile for 20. This is the one I want. I want some stuff to hold my cards. I like building little token things. So I was working on this little thing to be a deck holder out of Legos. And I got my giant Lego dice tower here. But the caster tile. Oh, wow. So you can really keep track of some stuff. Look at this one. The tracker tile. Very interesting. $35 for that bad boy. A notepad tile. That is a very expensive way to have an... Of course they put a bottle opener on the bottom of the coaster one. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. But, oh, it's $25 just for the... Ooh, all right. That is a luxury item. Hey, if you can afford it, you need it, and it matches your decor, go for it. So that was my intermission for accessories. I might have to play catch up on some of this other stuff. I think I've gotten through most of the stuff that's going to be ending soon. So other stuff that's going to be around for a while, I might be able to touch base with later. So this one is in French, and it's completely in French. There is no translations. There's nothing. This is a French game, but it does have 1 player. So if you speak French and you like, I'm not going to say this correctly, Soluna, sun and moon, Soluna, okay. Actually, I kind of like that. It's pixel art, but it does have 1 player. It looks interesting, and it should fund. It's a third of the way there with 18 days to go. It's only got 20 backers, but I'm wondering if it's the language that's killing it for this one. It's out of Canada, French-speaking Canada, but it yeah, it's there. So if you speak French, Soluna, check it out. Next one on my list is Cosmic Voyage. It's the only one that isn't funded, so it must be this one. This one looks very grindy. Gears and knobs and cards with lots of information on them. A dice rolling game of exploration, cooperation, and luck for 1 to 4 players. A lot of little gears and dials, and there's a lot of repetition here, but different colors, and it looks okay. The layout's fine. Very basic. This looks like looking at my, like, for daycare for my kid or something. But scan. After scanning and 3 discover reveal 3. Like a memory thing. Interesting. Or did you just flip over 1 and get it, and then remove it and replace it? Interesting. I don't know. Let's see what the damage is to get one of these. Physical edition for 20 bucks. That is really cheap. So maybe this one will be worth it. I might look more at this one later. I've got it on my list. I'm not going to save it, but got 19 days left, 137 backers, $3,300. They only need 4,000, so that one's plugging along. It is plugging along. So, Solitary Defilement. Solo resources for Markborg. I saw this one. So more of this Markborg stuff. And if you're into that, I wanted to mention this. It gets you some solo stuff you might need for whatever this is. So $10 PDFs for that. 17 bucks, 12 pounds for printed. I'm going to come back and look at more of this one just so I can figure out what the heck Markborg is and stuff. So another pretty game that's out was this cool looking wild Serengeti. Build your own little Lion King formation here. Gotta love animal shaped meeples. This looks super cool. 1 to 4 players, 14 plus, 30 minutes, 2 hours. It looks cool. They've created 3 games. I don't know if they were backed, but bad comment. That's funny. But it's got cool art style, and I really like these meeples. What does it take to get in on this game? $52. It's not bad. Looks like a $52 game. I think they're retailing it for $59, so 60 bucks. Looks like a $60 game. It's a big stack of cards there, and these uniquely shaped meeples. That's really cool. This looks like something I really would want to play. I just can't drop the money to wait for it till July of 2022. So I am going to remind myself on this one. I am going to look for that one down the line. That one looks really, really cool. Next time I do this, I'm going to have some coffee. I am just going to perk right up, and we're going to dive right into it. And you're going to be on information overload. So this one is 1 to 4 players, 30 minutes to an hour, and ages 8 plus only. So this is they're diving down for a lower to be okay with a lower age range. This has me nervous. The way that this looks, I don't like that. I don't like that art right there. The other stuff on here was looking okay. I don't know if these are just one of their paintings or taken, or like that doesn't match this stuff. This like freebie token stuff. Like there's like a noun project where you can get like this kind of art for free. Which is cool. I mean, you should use that stuff. I think you might have to like license the whole website and have access to all that. So it's cool. I mean, I might do that on a game in the future. It's not gonna fund. I'm sorry. It's got 4 backers, 25 days to go. Unless they just launched this today, which I'm not sure if they did. This isn't gonna get there. Okay, Autumn Island's gonna be a tough sell for a lot of people. There's I can see how there might be a couple red flags on there. Couldn't remember if this one was funded yet or not. Starship Shuffle. It looks like it just launched. If it was a 28-day launch and they're already at 2,500, that's good. If it launched with a 30-day and they're only at 2,500, actually these are some of the most important days, is the first couple of days. So if it's a 30-day campaign, I don't think it's gonna fund. If this just launched today on the big Tuesday, they have a chance if they can get another 1,000 or two before the end of the first 48 hours, this could do well. These are really blank looking. Those ships right there are really blank looking. The box art's kind of cool. It's a little cool. Oh wow, Doge. Oh, they want to go to the moon. Okay, this is kind of looking a little too zeitgeisty. Just like reaching out and grabbing for like, oh, we need Doge. Gotta point towards the Dogecoin. We're going into the moon. Like, so this looks like it's kind of a meme board game, I guess. So that might be why you only get 56 backers early on. Maybe it's better. I might come back and look at this one a little bit more. 1 to 5 players cooperatively build, upgrade. See, I feel like if you're going to be a meme and you're going to go for some of that stuff, you also want to go very like take that kind of maybe, but I don't know. So if there, it looks like their 1 player aspect to this is going to be cooperative. So the gameplay is going to be exactly the same as with multiple people. So you might just be playing multiple handed. Sunrise Market. So I clicked on this one because, and I wanted to bring it up on your radar because it's you choose one of the 3 games for I think like 28 bucks. Nope, 15. So that's pretty cheap. And one of them, they're kind of covering their bases here. You got 1 player, 2 player, and then 2 to 5 player. So Pier 1 on here, if you come to this surprise market, Pier 1, Boba Mahjong, and 1, 2, 3 Cheese, the Pier 1 is a 1 player game. So I might come back and check this one out and see what that game's about. I'll do a little remind me on that one to make sure I come back and see what Pier 1 is about. And then I have one more for the solo. And then my honorable mention. See, this just launched. This one's already doing really good. It's already doing really well. It's about halfway funded, 166 backers. Actually, that is kind of a high total for the amount of people. So unless this is a really expensive game, somebody's, looks a little, the numbers look a little skewed. But it does have solo play. It says 1 to 6, but there's also a little icon here that says solo play. I kind of like that. But plenty of time to go, plenty of time to check this one out. I would search for it and jump to it. It's got some interesting pieces of pie on here. So that one's Earth Rising. It does have a solo play. I'll just say what they say. That one has solo play. Now we get on to my honorable mention. This Indiana Jones ripoff, which looks amazing. I really like the art style. You don't got Indiana Jones, you got Tennessee James, and it's his adventures. And this one is not solo. It's for 2 to 4 players, 3 to 45 minutes. But I love this art style. I like the cards. The art style reminds me of Campbell, the guy who did the what was an old cliffhanger comic about a female like James Bond. I don't know why. Danger Girl. It reminds me of like the Danger Girl art style, which I really liked back in the 90s. The graphic design on here is great. And this art style is, it doesn't look 90s to me. It looks pretty, it could be like Saturday morning cartoons. It's got kind of a Saturday morning cartoons kind of vibe to it, and they might have been going for that, but an early bird extra, you get like extra stuff, which I think we're probably outside of that range. Oh nope, there's early backer. 25 more game tiles. There's still quite a bit of those left. How's this one doing financially? It's not gonna make it. I am shocked. Wow, I did not look at the money. Sometimes you look at a Kickstarter and you're so honed in on the way it looks, you think it's a no-brainer. What is going on with this one? How is this not funded? First created, 0 backed. Okay, there might have been there might have been some drama going on here. So I am surprised that they didn't cancel it. This looks like something could be retooled. So if it's something, this is a great case, and I will ramble on about this a little bit. This is a great case that if there was something going on with the Kickstarter, like maybe they didn't dial in the shipping, they didn't dial in the pledge amounts or whatever. It looks like a great one to cancel. Fix that stuff, do a relaunch. This one, I think, the art style alone should be catching a lot of eyes. Maybe because it doesn't have miniatures, that's probably a big hang up, but I don't know if I want my first time designers having a bunch of miniatures and it's like a whole lot of extra stuff to take on. Just ramping up, your chances of failure. But 8 days, they're not going to get $13,000 for this. But man, I'm gonna click the remind me for this one because I want to see what they do with this one down the road. I think this is going to be something cool. I think it will come back, and I think this game looks like it should be real. It should be made. I don't know what they're going. Some of these mysteries I will dive into, so you won't have to, because that is the point of this, to save you time, get you right to the good stuff. But right now, this was just a quick overview of kind of a catch up of what's on Kickstarter right now, and maybe there'll only be 1 or 2 solo games that come out each week, but I want to be able to dive into them a little bit for you, or at least point them out to you. So you might have missed it because they didn't put it in the description, they didn't put it somewhere else, and it's hard for me to sift through all that stuff, and so I hope I'm helping somebody. And with that, thanks for joining Single Player Party as we single player partied Kickstarter page. Pretty cool. All right. See you next week on this one.